Alright, since my microphone wasn't picking up, I did figure out the issue afterwards. I didn't want to go back and do a second match for the sake of this video. So I decided I wanted to dub over in post. If you hear me stutter quite a bit, well, it's because I'm not really the best at communicating what I want to say, so I'm just going to do as many takes as I can to get this right. So, as you can see, I'm doing a ranked match for Pokemon UNITE. I'm going to go over how I like to set up. For this game, I decided I wanted to choose Leafeon out of all of my often used Pokemon. And Leafeon was one of my few mains at the time of their release. I make sure that all of my items are prepped, make sure that I have the right setup when I'm using Leafeon. I also be sure to pre-pick my lane before I lock in my Pokemon. That way, once I have my Pokemon selected, I can just pick my lane and then confirm it. That way, if anybody did want to go center lane, then they wouldn't really have to because I was picking center lane. Leafeon is mostly a center or jungler type of Pokemon, so they mostly go off of leveling up. The more they're leveled, then the stronger they are. And the higher the level they are, then the more easily you'll be able to take down Pokemon, but it's also based on a Pokemon's overall strength as well as tankiness. And I try to utilize Leafeon's high attack power as well as mobility to counteract those kinds of Pokemon. To start off the match, I usually go for Swift, especially on every other evolution. I go for Swift first, and then I go for their secondary skill, which could be Quick Attack for Leafeon, Fake Tears for Umbreon, and a few other skills that all the other evolutions have that are specific to them. But I make sure that I grab as many Pokemon as I can, try and get myself leveled up and evolved. And once I'm evolved, I immediately pick Razor Leaf, as Razor Leaf is one of the best moves that I know how to use and utilize, especially since mobility is very important for Leafeon style. And this is also just how I personally play, because I prefer mobility over high power when it comes to Leafeon. They are strong in their own dependence, but like using Razor Leaf, being able to shoot them, move out the way, and then drag your leaves back whenever you get too close to an enemy and you need to get some distance and they're chasing you down. Your Razor Leaves are put in place, and you can just drag them back whenever you want. You don't have to drag them back immediately, which is the cool thing. But if there's a Pokemon in front of you, it's very easy to utilize that. As you can see, I did take down the Chansey, and I did help the Score Bunny take down the Mr. Mime that was down on the bottom lane. Now, heading back up, I try and farm a bit more because I want to be able to make sure that I'm strong enough to take on the two Pokemon that are up in the top lane that are taking down our Bulbasaur as well as our Jigglypuff. So, farming is very essential, especially for a jungler. I did lag quite a bit there, but the program that I'm using to get all this gameplay footage is kind of slow, so there might be a bit of lag occasionally. It's not my fault, I'm very sorry about that. But yeah, I make sure to farm a bit more, farm as much as I can, so that way I have my ult ready, I have my Unite move ready, I can take down the Pokemon that are on bottom lane, and then make my way to top lane, just in case they're struggling a bit. Which it did look like bottom lane was struggling a good lot, so I decided to go ahead and use my Unite move on those two Pokemon. Used it on the Mr. Mime and the about to be evolved Gengar, and then I just took down the Mr. Mime right then and there. Or the Chansey right then and there. My bad. So, I head up to top lane, see that they're struggling a bit. They already have their Venusaur. So I decide I'm gonna go take down their Venusaur. I don't care about the Piloswine, I just want to get rid of the Venusaur as quick as possible. So I did that, collected some Pokemon on the way, now I'm level 10. And just overall trying to get rid of these Pokemon so they don't cap Regieleki. And try and drive them away from there as best as I can. I was able to successfully take down the Piloswine, but at the cost of me getting KO'd by the Venusaur. So, since I was alive for so long, it is a much longer cooldown. A lot of people will say that this is kind of like League of Legends, and it is basically how I am able to learn League of Legends. I play Pokémon UNITE, and then I learned League of Legends from this game. I'm heading down, and I want to go and get the Regirock before the enemy team does. So, unfortunately, the Mr. Mime was down here, so it took a lot of my HP away, but I was able to get rid of the Mr. Mime. But trying to defeat Regieleki, especially when I'm at such a low HP count, is very risky, so I had to back away occasionally, go and heal up, and then come back. So I picked up a berry, and I went back down, and then I tried to get rid of the Gengar. It worked, but I ended up dying in the process, so. And they did end up taking Regirock, so that was a bit of a loss. I wish I could have done more with that, but I was already pretty low, so it just wasn't going to work out in my favor. I also made a very stupid decision to try and 1v4 the entire team because I thought I could get my ult off in time, but I wasn't able to. And that was a very common mistake on my part. I got a little bit overconfident, and then I just went bombarding into the enemy team. Frankly, I didn't even think that the entirety of the enemy team was down there, but they were. And then I tried to go and get these Swablu and Altaria, but the Mamoswine and the Venusaur were down there, and I just couldn't get to them. So I got KO'd again. Note to self, if you ever see anyone while you're trying to farm and they look a little overpowered, take my advice and just farm for whatever's currently in the lane. So I'm farming some more Baltoy, I'm farming the Excavaliers, the Acelgors, I'm farming as many wild Pokemon as I can to try and level myself up. It sort of works, so the more farming that I do, then the more likely I'll be able to win team fights, at least with my team, with or without. I go back to get the Swablu, and it was successful this time, so that's a good thing. That's a very good sign. I was able to get the Swablu and the Altaria. This time around, we were able to successfully get the Regirock, so I'm very glad about that. So now that we have the Regirock, we're a little bit stronger in terms of tankiness, and I have a good 50 points that I need to score. Usually, once I have like a max amount of points, if I do end up getting involved in a team fight, I try and run away and save those points until I'm able to make a safe score. Especially since we're coming up to Rayquaza right about now. So since we have Rayquaza coming up, if we do cap Rayquaza, then I'll be able to score that 50 very easily. And I shouldn't have done that to that Gengar. That poor Gengar didn't deserve it. And my footage just kind of cut there. But basically, how it all went down, I can give you a rundown of it. I was stalling against the enemy team, trying to score points. We capped Rayquaza, and I went down from there. So, since we're about to get Rayquaza, I can make a safe score away from all of the other enemy team. I did get the Blissey as well as the Mr. Mime, so that was very good on my part. I tried to score as best as I can, as many points as I could. The Gengar did try to come for me, but I did get the 100 off since it's double points at the last 2 minutes of the round. So I got the Gengar, and I try to get as many points as I can, try to go up to that top path and get the scoring off. We're approaching our last minute, so I try to gain as much speed as I can to try and grab some more Pokemon. And then I go to top path, and then I go and score my 30. At this point, I am max level, but we have 15 seconds in the team fight. I wouldn't be able to get any more points to go and score a bit more. So I just gained as many Pokemon as I could, trying to go look for the team to pick off. The fight ends, and it was a very close round too. We did lose by a few points, but overall, I think we did pretty well. We did make a slight comeback, a major comeback, and we almost beat them, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out. We were a few points too low. But I think my entire team did well as the enemy team. It is veteran class for ranked that I'm in, so opponents are going to be a lot tougher to take down. But overall, I try to endorse everyone on the enemy team as well as my own team if they did anything. So overall, I think that was a successful match. Even though I didn't win, it's very important not to get too caught up in trying to take down as many enemy team players as you can, but it's more just you have to utilize your Pokemon, score as many goals as you can. And this is a very good video to make, especially since it'll be 3 years of Pokemon UNITE coming up soon. So, with that being said, I do hope that you will take my advice and not dive into a 4v1 like I did this round. It was very dumb of me, and frankly, I shouldn't have done it. I did not think that all 4 of them were down there. But hey, alas, you can only do so much, so there's a couple extra seconds of this, so I'm going to wrap things up, and I hope you all have a good morning, afternoon, or a good night, wherever you are. So I will see y'all in the next one. Goodbye!